Good morning, all. Now we are going to see about the uses of generative models. The first one is an text generation. Here, the generative models can create human-like text from the user's prompt. They can understand the context of the prompt and generate the sentences by predicting some one token, which is either word or subword at the time. It is fully based on the prompt given by the user. For example, some of the applications for text generations or article writing, essay generations, email drafting. The second one is an conversational AI and chatbots. Here, the generative models can enable some of the chatbots to understand natural language, maintain conversations context, and generate meaningful responses instead of relying on some predefined replies. For example, applications or customer support, virtual assistants, and educational tutors. The third one is an image generation. Here, the generative models can create new image from text descriptions by learning visual patterns from large image datasets. If the person have give some of the prompt based on some realistic or natural environments based on text generations, it can create the image with applications like graphic designings, logo creations, and some of the digital arts. The fourth one is an video generation. Here, the generative models can create videos from text prompts, images, or existing video clips by generating realistic sequences of frames. Some of the applications like educational videos, marketing videos, animations, like that. The fifth one is an audio and music generation. Here, the generative models can generate speech, music, and sound effects by learning from audio recordings. For example, music composition, text to speech, like that. The sixth one is in language translation. Here, the generative models can translate the text from one language to another while preserving its meaning and context of the word. The applications are international communications, tourisms, education, like that. The best example is in English, I am giving good morning. Then what is the exact word in French means it give bonjour. We have predict many languages through this AI or generative models to finding the exact meaning of the word in different languages. The seventh one is in synthetic data generation. Here, the generative models can create artificial data sets that resemble real data without exposing sensitive information. Some of the applications like machine learning, training, medical research, fraud detection. The best example is generating synthetic patients records for training healthcare AI models, which means that it creates some duplicate data sets with the reflection of original data set. The next one is a Docker. A Docker, which means a lightweight virtualization solution. What is meant by Docker? A Docker is a lightweight virtualization platform that packages an application and everything we needs like code, libraries, dependencies, configurations. It combines all these needs into a single container. So it returns the same way on any computer. Think of Docker as a machine that packs your application in container based model. What is Docker container? A Docker container is exactly like that lunchbox. Everything is packed together. For example, applications, Python, libraries, dependencies, settings, version controls, like that. The simple real-time example is if I'm developing applications based on Python with version 3.12. I'm using the framework as Flask 3.0. I'm using the OS as Ubuntu. My backend is MySQL 8. I have developed the Python application on myself own laptop. If I need to give the same application to my friend, her his or her laptop is version of Python 3.8 and the Flask framework with 2.0, and they're using operating system as Windows with the backend of MySQL 5.7. There is difference between versions of all programming language, uh, framework, backend, and also OS. How it how it is possible to run different versions? It cannot. The application doesn't support to other mentioned versions. It may shows error like module not found error, version mismatch, database connection error, like that. Before Docker or without Docker, the main server, it can store application A, B, C, D. The application A has Python language, application B has Python 3.12, application C has Node.js, and application D has Java 2.1. Here it faces the main problem as different version conflicts, and installing one app may break another app also. With Docker, how to avoid the errors and conflicts? Each application gets its own isolated container. It may store all applications in container based form. But the first container may contain Python 3.8 Flask, which is an application A. The container 2, Python 3.12 Django framework. It is an application B. Each container adds its own environment and there is no conflicts between each application. How does Docker work? See, this is an approach. The first one is a physical computer. The second one is an Ubuntu, which is an host operating system. And the third one is an Docker engine. The Docker engine may contains multiple containers. The multiple containers, we can store multiple applications with their versions and frameworks through host operating systems. A container does not install another OS system. It shares the host operating system. We doesn't need to install container 1 with application and a framework, or container 2. Again, we need to install Python or some of the libraries. Just we are installing the libraries, Python's framework, codings one time, and it may share to all the three containers. Why is Docker called lightweight? The main is it using the disk space, RAM, CPU. While installed in Ubuntu, it may share all the virtual machines across Docker engine. The Docker engine may contain disk space, RAM, CPU. Once we have installed the Ubuntu, it may share the disk space, RAM, CPU to all the mentioned virtual machines, or each virtual machine is called as container. The final one is in Docker, host computer, Ubuntu, Docker engine. The Docker engine may contain all the libraries, disk space, RAM, like it may share the resources to container 1, 2, 3, and the container 1, 2, 3 doesn't need to install individually to run the applications. There is only one Ubuntu OS. All containers can share it. Each container contains only the application and the required libraries are also installed priorly. Here it just sharing the resources to all the containers. Compared to Docker, we can without Docker we need to install all this needs one by one in container 1, 2, 3 or application 1, 2, 3. The main usage of Docker engine is that sharing the memory resources, libraries, applications to all other three applications or containers. Thank you.